I think we just have to remember just how efficient and fair that Bitcoin is in terms of its delivery of price. Bitcoin is just extremely fair to both sides of the market. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, you can get in at a decent price, whichever that price may be. You can get in. Obviously, you're not going to be able to go back and get in at 50K. You know what I'm saying? But when price was around 50, 60, 70K, there was opportunities for you to be able to get in at some of those lower prices, such as 65, 55 grand, right? Where we are right now, price is doing it once again. Price is showing in the chart that we're likely going to revisit 99,000 in the near term. And I just want to illustrate that here. So there is a case for 92,000, like high 92,000. But I'll show you why I don't think it's going to happen unless there is a narrative to really liquidate both sides of the market and get people thinking that the top is in, right? Get people to think that 112,000 is the high and the bear market has begun, which I think that that's just not the case. At this point, there's too much buying happening behind the scenes, too much Bitcoin leaving exchanges right now for that to happen. I want to illustrate this point here. This move up from November 4th, 2024, this spike right here, and I'm on the weekly chart. Just take a note of this spike right here from 76,000, right? High 76,000s all the way up to 103,000. That area right there. We traded through that February 24th of this year on this candle right here. Okay, and I want you to just take a look at this candle. Just take a look at the story it's telling, okay? During this week, at one point, this entire week was completely bearish, going back down through the same area that we pushed up from, okay? From that 76,000 to 103,000. This one candle just went right through that area. And then within the same week, we got bought all the way back up, okay? So again, down, back up. The very following week, all right, this was the first week of March, we basically just traded all the way through that candle again, all the way through that range, that area. What this created was a balanced price range where everyone who was buying and selling basically got an opportunity to participate in this range here, all of this. So this green box illustrates this range, if you will, where price has just gone through it multiple times. Here, through this week, back up, back down again. And then just recently, we got another push back through this area once again, all right? And obviously, we're at a high of 112,000, okay? But this green area in particular really illustrates the back and forth, especially on this week here. So from an internal range liquidity standpoint, what I'm looking at right here are these two imbalances in particular. We have this weekly here and this other weekly down here in discount right here. Now, normally I'd be anticipating price to deliver back down into the imbalance that's in a discount, but I don't see that being necessary just because price has already shown that this area is already efficient. The back and forth of this area of price just gyrating through 80,000 to 94,000 shows that price doesn't need to come back down in here, right? You can see how that green box overlaps with this lower imbalance here. Instead, I would expect price to come back just below 100,600 to be able to tap into this weekly area before going to 120 as the next whole number for Bitcoin, right? 120,000 would be my near-term target after going into this very close weekly imbalance, right? We're just 9,000 off, right? And we seen that just a couple days ago where we had a nice drop from 112 all the way down to 102. I believe that this is just priming the market for a drop back down below 101,000, and then from there I would expect accumulation to happen for price to go higher to 120. If something like this happened instead, though, to me, the narrative would be the top is in. And when I say narrative, I'm talking about what's going to be on TV and across YouTube. Oh, this is most likely going to be the top, guys. This is a very deep pullback. This would just, to me, be more liquidations and more accumulation at such a discount. Obviously, I would treat it as another buying opportunity, but preferably from a trading standpoint, I would rather just see price not even make it down there, right? I'd prefer to see price just tap in here, hold this imbalance, and then look for a move higher. Again, this area in green is just extremely efficient. There's just no need for price to pull back into this lower imbalance. Now, of course, anything can happen, but that's where I'm at right now. Like that would be my reasoning, and I'm personally looking for price to go back to 100,600, right? So just underneath $101,000, I would like to get some nice buys in. But even if we don't get back to that level, let's say we just don't even revisit the weekly imbalance and it just becomes a breakaway gap furthermore, then I'll still buy in. But I am setting aside some cash just for that price point. All right. So if you were to ask me when I'd be looking to get more at a discount, it would be at 100,400. That would be my discount to put in a nice sizable chunk for the long term. All right. So that's my analysis for Bitcoin. Short, to the point, right? We don't have much to the left being at all-time highs, but that's where I'd be looking for some decent longs.